Hi, everybody. You have been working so hard on your informational writing pieces. I see that you clearly know a lot about a lot of different topics, and that's exciting for me to read. Now, if you've reached a place where you're like, I don't know if I know anymore about this particular topic, that's okay. We will talk about how we can research next week. Research would be how you find out more information about a topic that you're curious about. Today's lesson is actually going to be about what we can add to our pictures so that things are even more clear for our readers and so that we have more detail on every single page that we write. Now remember that our goal is eventually to have 5 pages with 5 different topics of information about one main topic. And we will get there eventually, but these books take a really long time, and I want you to take your time writing them. So if you have only gotten 1 page done or 2 pages done, that's totally fine. You can take a day to focus on your pictures too, because pictures and illustrations are an important part of passing information along. So today we're talking about text features. Text features are things in books that aren't the main body of text. So I'll use my Bats book as an example again. We can tell that in this book, on these pages, this is the main text on the page. Text means words. So this is where I'm going to get a lot of information. But there's other stuff on this page too. For example, there's a little box right here that gives another fact about bats that wasn't included in this section right here. There's a section down here that says bat words, and it teaches you 2 new vocabulary words about bats. On this page about bat bodies, they actually have little boxes with arrows pointing to the different body parts of the bat to give you a better idea of exactly what parts they're talking about. So these things are called text features. When we add things to our pages that are not just the words on the page. And today we're talking about 3 different things you could add. There will be a lot more things we can add, and we'll talk about those next week. Today we're just focusing on 3. So the first thing I want to talk about is labels. And I have a little poster here that demonstrates what I'm talking about. Labels. That's what I just showed you in the Bat book. A label tells about the picture and its parts. So this example has the pig, and then it has arrows pointing to the different body parts. So we have the snout, the eye, the ear, the tail, and the hoof. You might remember that I did this in my polar bear book when I wrote this page where I drew the polar bear, and then I added words and arrows pointing to the different parts of the polar bear, like the fact that it has a muscle hump over its shoulders for catching large prey. That big muscle helps them to catch the large prey that it eats. I'm pointing to its claws, things like that. And I just showed you this example in the Bat book too. Now, all 3 of those examples I just gave to you are all about animals, but you could label just about anything that has different parts. So if you're writing about raspberries, and you drew a raspberry plant, you could draw arrows and use labels to point to the different parts of the plant. You can label just about anything. Another text feature that we could choose to use in our books is a close-up. A close-up is a type of picture that helps the readers see details in a very close-up way. So I did this on my very first page of writing in my polar bear book. I drew the polar bear, but then since I was talking about skin and fur on this first page, I said, you know what, my reader might want a very close-up picture of what that looks like. So I drew this. I drew a circle with the arrow, and I drew the arrow points to where I'm drawing a close-up of. So you can imagine that this chunk of skin and fur is right here on the back of the polar bear. And then I drew very, very, very closely what that would look like. Now it kind of looks like spikes or something that would be like on the back of a dinosaur, but that's how I'm showing you that polar bear fur is hollow. So it's kind of clear, but since it's all together, it looks white. And then they have black skin, so I drew this black skin right here. So I drew a close-up because that was a part of my informational text that I thought needed a close-up so that my reader could understand it better. If you're writing a book about dinosaurs and you are writing about dinosaur teeth, for example, maybe you don't want to draw an entire dinosaur in the picture for that page. Maybe you want to draw just a close-up of a dinosaur's mouth, or even closer up, just a dinosaur tooth, so that you can show the difference between an herbivore or a carnivore's teeth. So those are some examples of how we can use a close-up or something where we really, really zoom in on a part of the picture, and that helps our reader to understand what something looks like close up. A third text feature that you could choose to use is a caption. This also goes along with our illustrations or our pictures. A caption tells the reader about the picture. So, of course, you are writing on your page, and that gives the reader information. But sometimes you want to specifically tell a reader about the picture or the photo on the page. So for example, this part of the book doesn't have a title at the top because the title is over here, and this next page is just a continuation of those facts about hanging out. A bunch of bats hanging out. And so we have this photo here that shows bats hanging out, and you can read about them here. But the author of this book thought, you know what, maybe I need a little sentence at the bottom of the picture to just further explain exactly what this is a picture of. And so here's what the author wrote. She wrote, bats hanging and flying in a cave. So now when you look at this picture, you have no questions about what this picture is. The author tells you right here at the bottom, bats hanging and flying in a cave. I also did this in my book. It's a little harder with our writing pages, the way that they're set up, because we have this giant picture box and then words right underneath it. But I was able to squeeze a tiny caption right down here underneath the picture. And so first I'll read to you what the whole page says. I'm talking about polar bear moms and babies on this page. And so the big words say, they usually have 2 cubs at a time. Sometimes they have 3 cubs and sometimes they have 1 cub, but that is rare. Then in my caption about this specific picture, I wrote, the mother polar bear keeps her cubs warm. The cubs drink milk. So I'm explaining to you what's going on in this picture, and it's the fact that the mom is keeping her babies warm in their den. So today we just talked about 3 different text features that you might choose to put in your books. Do you have to put these in your informational books? No, but they're good ideas that help make things clearer for your reader. So remember, those 3 things that you could choose to add are labels on your pictures, a close-up either in the picture or make the whole picture a close-up like this, and captions, which kind of go at the bottom of a picture to help explain it. Your job today is to spend 10 to 15 minutes writing. Remember, we're just trying to create at least 5 pages that tell different things about the main topic that we're talking about. If you haven't drawn any pictures yet because you haven't had enough time, go ahead and take a day and just illustrate. I know those illustrations take a long time, just like the words do. So maybe you want to think about some of these text features that you can add in your illustrations today. Either way, you're going to spend 10 to 15 minutes writing, and then make sure that you bring your writing that you worked on during these 2 remote weeks back to school. So even if you think you're completely done with some of the pages, make sure you pack up that writing either in your writing folder or in the binder that you're bringing back. And you're going to bring all that stuff back to school with you on Tuesday. We will continue writing these pieces at school on Tuesday, so we definitely don't want to lose them. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. See you on Tuesday.